So here we go. Now I get to bring in wonderful people. Please let me bring to our program Nick and Krys. Nick and Krys, come on. Good to see you. All right, so let me try to get in the middle of the screen here so that you can. I am outside and it's raindrops falling on my head. What a bad idea this was. But I really appreciate you guys coming and talking to me today. And I want to welcome you and I want to introduce you both. First of all, I really want to thank you. I've spent some good time with you guys and you're so brave and you're so courageous and willing to tell the story. Can you first tell us where you guys are tonight? So, Krys, you want to go first? Where are you? Where you shooting from?
Well, tonight I'm actually in the DLC at the Newark Crisis Center. I'm in the maker space, which is a room where we hold the writer's workshop with Kirsten. We do like the Cov Chat is here. We do financial literacy in here. Anytime we have any like guest kind of speakers, we do Zoom within this room as well. It's a nice little area. There's some rolly chairs, some tables out for us. There's bean bags. It's a nice little comfortable spot.
Great, cool. All right, and Nicholas, where are you, my friend?
I'm currently actually in my room at the Nancy's Place Center in Montclair, New Jersey. And Nancy's Place is one of the Covenant House centers that revolves around mental health. It's a transitional living center where youth can go to work on themselves and their mental health so that they can lead well, productive lives when their time at Covenant House has come to an end. So that's where I am.
Great. Well, I thank you guys for coming on and being willing to tell your story. Let me ask you this. Why have you decided to do this? You know that we have over 200 sleepers, we have executives, we have people from really kind of all over the place who come to in solidarity to sleep out. But so Krys, why did you agree to do this tonight?
I think it's more of like just kind of getting our stories out there, like it's something that just a lot of people don't really realize how homelessness affects young people and just the kind of hope that Covenant House really gives us and the help that all the money that you guys can raise just helps us kind of proceed in life and get into better tracks of where we want to be.
Yeah, and Nicholas, what about you? You've been on many programs talking about your journey. Why do you do it?
I personally am always open to sharing my stories and my experiences within Covenant House because, I've come so far in the past year that I've been at Covenant House, and it's really made an impact on my life being here and being able to be my full authentic self and take advantage of all of the amazing benefits that Covenant House gives to their youth. And it's really been a stepping stone to me going into my young adult life, into adulthood. And I would always be open to, sharing my story and making a difference to someone else's understanding to what's happening to homeless youth and what's happening to the youth of Covenant House. So if I can do something to help someone else, then that would make a difference to me.
Thank you. Well, you are my friend. So maybe, Nicholas, you can talk a little bit about before you came to Covenant House, what was going on in your world and where were you at?
Before Covenant House, I lived with my mom for a while, and my whole life I was with my mom, and the environment wasn't very, nurturing to me. It was quite an abusive household, and I didn't really know why there were so many things that I wasn't able to complete in my life. Regarding my mental health, I had problems when I was, in high school, and I wasn't able to keep a job. I wasn't able to continue with college, and I was in and out of therapy. And it really changed my perspective on what my purpose was and what I was trying to get out of my childhood and my young adulthood. And coming to Covenant House, it was a completely different experience. Starting out, I had left my mom's house eventually, trying to, seek a more nurturing environment, something that I could latch on to, being someone who wanted to have their own income and have their own support for themselves. I lived with my older sister for a while, and that was also a similar environment to my mom's house. So I eventually found out about Covenant House through my grandmother, and I called the number on my way to work once my sister had asked me to leave one day. And thankfully for me, Covenant House had a bed, and I was welcomed with open arms. And Barry, one of the staff at Covenant House Crisis Center, he was able to take me to work that day. I wasn't having to take 2 trains to work that day, so I was very grateful to him. And
Yeah.
since I got there, I felt like I was in a space where I finally felt like things could change for me, and they have changed a lot. So I'm very grateful to Covenant House.
Thank you for that. Thanks so much. Krys, you had a journey, my friend, and I know that it was challenging before you came to Covenant House. What are you comfortable sharing about that challenging journey before you came to Covenant House, and where you were before you walked through our doors?
Um, Before I kind of came to Covenant House, I lived in a couple different not lives, sorry. I just lived in a bunch of different not great scenarios. Growing up, living with my mother, who was very mentally ill, addicted to heroin, addicted to cocaine, crack, whatever she could really get. We dealt with just like not stable housing. It was me and my 3 siblings at the time, going from we lived in an apartment for 1 week or a month, and then my mom would pick us up and we'd drop out of whatever school we were going to, and we would live out of her car, and we would go searching for little parks and side streets that were kind of safe enough for us to stay for a couple nights. She always told us it was like an adventure. And it got to the point where I remember being about 6 years old and kind of realizing that this isn't an adventure. It's just kind of not good for us. I was put into foster care when I was 11, and for even then, I was in a lot of abusive homes. I also wasn't anywhere stable then. I was able to keep kind of the same school district, but I was moving homes every couple months because I just had so much going on, and no one was really equipped to kind of help me and handle that. Um, my last home, I was actually asked to leave, and I had my own apartment for a little bit, but when COVID hit, it was really difficult to kind of keep a job and then also continue to keep making rent and live through that. So I was evicted from my apartment, and I was on my own for a good couple days before my old CASA worker from my time in the division had recommended Covenant House to me. And I called, I went in. I was actually also greeted by Barry,
Yeah.
who just kind of welcomed me with open arms. I remember I was crying, and he told me like I was safe here. Like there wasn't really, I wouldn't have to worry anymore about where I would be staying. Like this is kind of a good spot for me, and I really am just making great steps now.
Yeah, you sure are. You sure are. And thank you for sharing that. I know that it's challenging and can be really difficult to go back. But I think when we talk about where you're at, where you're going soon, um, people will understand why you have such a beautiful smile. Nicholas, can you share a little bit about your first few nights at Covenant House, right? So you come in, you were at home, you come to the Covenant House, it's still a shelter. You got some concerns, fears. How was that for you? What was your first few nights like?
The first couple nights were kind of hard. It was my first time ever um, being in a youth shelter. There were times where I was in a shelter with my mom growing up when we couldn't afford to have a house, but it wasn't exactly the same. I was on my own for the first time, and I didn't have my sisters or my mom or anyone else to lean
Sure.
on. So
Yeah.
um, I did cry for the first couple of nights. I was really scared.
Yeah.
Um, but over time, I knew that being on my own for a while and making sure that I was, mentally, physically stable, knowing that I had a bed to sleep at night was comforting.
Yeah.
And um, I honed that. And, over time, I realized how much of a good opportunity this was to really leverage myself into the next phase of my life. So, Covenant House came around.
Yeah. Well, so you're both at Covenant House. You've left kind of really challenging experiences, sense of aloneness, right? Living out of a car, other things as well, full of fear. But you make your way to Covenant House, and I would say God's grace, but you made it. What were the things that, and there's so many services that we provide, right? We have lawyers and DLC and, all the things that we provide. But what were the things for you that really gave you and moved you through that really challenging time? Krys, do you want to talk a little bit about what have you experienced at Covenant House, and how has that really helped you move forward in life?
Sure. I started my first week or so here. I went through a lot of assessments in terms of like my physical and mental health,
Mm.
which were things like for the last couple years, I haven't been to a doctor. I haven't seen a psychiatrist. I haven't been to a dentist. And here I was able to get those appointments. I was able to get things checked out, see what I needed, see what could be worked on, what I needed help with, what was okay.
Mm.
And everything was just kind of like it's all tailored really to you as an individual, because I think definitely here a lot of the staff, everyone really recognizes that not all of the same things work for everyone. And so everyone's really open to trying to work with you and how you really learn, how you will grow and just help you in a way that's more individualized and less like, all right, here you go.
Right.
Um, we've done
Yeah.
things with, yeah.
Yeah. And Nicholas, what about you? I mean, I know that you've been at Covenant House now for a while, right? How long have you been at Covenant House?
I've been here with Covenant House for about 15 months now.
15 months.
Just working my hardest to make sure I have a good foundation before my time at Covenant House comes to an end. And I completely agree with Krys. They really do make sure that, all the things that you need for yourself are in place. Similar to Krys, getting a therapist when I first got here was one of the main things that I was really grateful for. Being a trans man, they were able to help me get a provider that I could get me back on hormones. That was something that really made a difference in, my mental health and how I went through Covenant House. There is a saving program that Covenant House also has, which has made a really big difference because
Yes, you
I
have.
do work. Yes,
Yes,
yeah, I do work, and I was able to save up quite a bit of money for the first time. I don't have to worry about someone stealing my money, and I've saved up a little bit over $8,000,
Yeah.
and I've also used some of that money to go within Covenant House's driving program, and I was able to purchase my first car on my own. The title's in my name. So just big things are happening that I never
Right.
figured would happen without the help of Covenant House.
Toyota Corolla, right? We got a Toyota
Corolla.
So,
2005.
but Nicholas, what was the turning point for you? Because you and I had spent some time together, and I know, there were times when, it was really challenging, right? I mean, you had a low moments, right?
Yeah. It was a lot, especially, you know, being that Nancy's Place is catered to people with mental health issues. I worked with my therapist in trying to figure out, what I wanted for myself, what goals that I have.
Yeah.
And there came a time in my life where I really looked back on, 2020 and the year that I've had within Covenant House, and I changed. I fundamentally, physically, and mentally changed. And for the first time in my life after a really long time, I wanted to continue living. I had things to look forward to in my future. And that's something invaluable that I was able to discover for myself at Covenant House. And nothing is more grateful to me than knowing that I have something to look forward to in my future. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, you are so courageous, my friend, and you have taken it on. And so proud of you and all that you've achieved. Krys, you have really, I mean, you haven't been with us long at all, right? How long have you been with us, Krys?
A little over a month, actually. I think I came in around October 7th.
And where are you at? What have you achieved in the last week?
In the last week, I've actually gotten 2 jobs. Yeah, I'm making steps. Thank you.
Steps, my friend.
Yeah, I mean,
Krys, would you be able to, I know we're going over time, but I don't care because I'm loving you guys. We're just going to do this. Krys, could you share with us one of the jobs? Because I know you're going to be working for Covenant House.
Oh,
Yeah, talk a little bit about your job with us.
so the job I will be doing with Covenant House is the Knot program, which is kind of reaching out to different high schools, different other services like shelters, what have you, and just kind of reaching out, letting them know about our services here, letting them know who to contact if they happen to come across anyone that really could use the services that is offered here. And yeah, just kind of be more of an advocate for
Yeah.
Covenant House.
Well, you have been an advocate. You're speaking on behalf of our young people, and you're so eloquent. And I always enjoy talking with you. Look at that smile. Oh, you got it. You got it, my friend. Okay, Nicholas, I'm going to do it. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, but you got to tell these sleepers what you've achieved in terms of. First of all, Nicholas works 7 days a week, my friends. This guy, you wonder why he's got $8 grand in the bank and has a Toyota Corolla is because he works 7 days a week. And when he's not working, he's studying. So what some of the accomplishments that you've made, Nicholas, over the last few months in technology?
Um, thanks. I'm
Come
really
on.
happy that I was able to take advantage of like all the time that I've spent in Covenant House and being in the IT program Europe. I was able to get my Scrum Master certification. If there's anyone in IT on the call, I was able to
Plug.
I was able to start an internship at Johnson & Johnson on the medical devices team. So I'm working with a lot of different companies. I work at Whole Foods on the weekend, and I just want to make the most out of my time so I can really leverage my career and start something new in the corporate America because I love to learn. My next goal for myself is to get my AWS Cloud Practitioner certification. So we're moving up.
You are moving up and on, right? How wonderful is that? Okay, so I am so proud of you two, and you bring such a message to our sleepers. I understand there were dark days. I get it. And you've been kind and courageous in sharing them, but you most importantly are sharing your future and your joy. And so that, I'm so thankful for you and for your guts and your guts to share. Okay, so here's the deal. What message would you like to leave with our sleepers, who, by the way, aren't eager to get outside because it's raining out, just so you know. So you can take your time. But let's go with Nicholas first. What message do you want to give our over 200 sleepers who've raised over 1.2? Yeah, I said it. But what was the message that you'd want to send to these people who really do care about our mission and our young people? But what's your message to them?
My message for them is just to really keep up the momentum. Um, the fact that you're able to continue to spread the word about what's happening with people in Covenant House. All of these sleep outs that we have, they're tailored for everything that happens, right? Like we've recently just had our racial injustice sleep out. These are real problems that go on every day, and the more you spread awareness about it, the more change we can do. Every day that we do, every year that we do this, every time we have a sleep out, you're creating change. So keep up that momentum, and I'm so grateful for you all to be doing this tonight, really.
And you know what, Nicholas, I'm so glad we're recording this because you're our next commercial. That was great, my friend. Krys, my eloquent friend, what would you want to convey to those who are sleeping out tonight? Hopefully not in the rain.
I think it's more of like your help isn't going unnoticed. Like we may not know you personally, we may not know your name, your face, anything about you, but what you're doing, sleeping outside and potentially the rain, being uncomfortable and just raising this money is something that's really helpful to us. And we can't know you, we don't see you, but like we notice it. We can definitely tell. And it's just a lot of great work that you guys are doing. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sure if anyone else was here from the Covenant House, they would be saying the same thing. It's just we really appreciate the work and we see it, and we can't thank you enough.
Well, home run. One of the things that I know that we spoke about, you talked about what is your mission, and part of your mission is both of you, Krys, and I know Nicholas, part of your mission is to make the world a better place and to bring about awareness. I know that. Well, home run, 10 out of 10. You did a fantastic job. I'm inspired, and I've been doing this craft for 40 years, right? So you guys have really got such a gift that you've given to us tonight. I so thank you. And sleep well. And some of us won't be sleeping as well tonight. But again, thank you for your time and your courage and your gift to us. All of us are sleepers. See you later. See you. There you go. See you in house.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, guys.